Hello and welcome to this new video. In the previous video we talked about Trito, and before that we talked about the Proto-Indo-Europeans. When it comes to the Proto-Indo-Europeans, what is also important to know regarding them, and it's also semi-linked to the Proto-Indo-European Chariot that we're gonna go into in the next video, is horses. And when it comes to horses, people in Europe and Central Asia kept horses for various purposes, including milk, meat, and possibly riding for more than 1,000 years. The Proto-Indo-Europeans, who lived around 4000 to 2500 BC, are often associated with the early development of horse domestication and horse-related warfare. The domestication of horses is believed to have been a significant achievement of the Proto-Indo-Europeans, and they were among the first to tame and utilize horses for various purposes, including riding, transportation, and warfare. The domestication of horses allowed them to become more mobile and expand into new territories. And linguistic evidence, primarily based on the reconstruction of the Proto-Indo-European language, suggests that they had a rich vocabulary related to horses and horsemanship. This linguistic evidence indicates that horses played a crucial role in their culture. Horses were vital in ancient warfare, providing speed and mobility to warriors. And it is conceivable that young men in the Chariot warrior band engaged in things such as horseback riding and cavalry warfare. In some Indo-European societies, chariots were important military assets as well. Young warriors in the Chariot thus may have been trained to use and maintain chariots pulled by horses. Another good indication of this would be the divine twins, who were twin gods that held a prominent place within the Proto-Indo-European society and spirituality. The divine twins were youthful horsemen, either gods or demigods, who served as rescuers and healers in Proto-Indo-European mythology, and they were either depicted riding their own horses or on chariots. They were further represented as young men rescuing mortals from peril in battle or at sea. And the divine twins rode the steeds that pulled the sun across the sky and were sometimes depicted as horses themselves. And these two brothers are generally depicted as healers and helpers, traveling in miraculous vehicles to save shipwrecked mortals. They are often differentiated as well. One is represented as a physically strong and aggressive warrior linked to cattle raiding, while the other is seen as a healer who rather gives attention to agrarian pursuits or romantic adventures. The Dioscuri are a later manifestation of the Proto-Indo-European twin deities, and they are often linked to horseback riding and safeguarding travelers. So think of them as the heroic protectors of people on their journeys. In Greek myth, they are the inventors of war dances as well. And as there are generally little details regarding the original myth itself, we have to rely mostly on the older and later mythology. And when it comes to Greek mythology, the horse twins of the Dioscuri have one mortal twin and one immortal one. In one myth, Castor climbed a tree to keep a watch as Polux, the other twin, began to free the cattle. Where far away Idas and Lynceus approached. Lynceus named for the lynx because he could see in the dark. And he spied Castor hiding in the tree. Idas and Lynceus then immediately understood what was happening. So Idas, furious, ambushed Castor, fatally wounding him with a blow from his spear, but not before Castor called out to warn Polux. In the ensuing brawl, Polux killed Lynceus, and as Idas was about to kill Polux, Zeus, who had been watching from Mount Olympus, hurled a thunderbolt, killing Idas and saving his son. Returning to the dying Castor, Polux was given the choice by Zeus of spending all his time on Mount Olympus or giving half his immortality to his mortal brother. He opted for the latter, enabling the twins to alternate between Olympus and Hades. The brothers becoming the two brightest stars in the constellation Gemini, the twins. where being between invulnerability and death and having a link to both Olympus and Hades, linked to also their father, the Thunder God, and their cattle raiding, could link them to the Choreos as well, which I will be going in more later. First, however, I want to go deeper into the Divine Twins themselves and what they symbolize. When it comes to these youthful horse twins, they represent the idea of duality, balance, and opposites, and are often associated with the same deity's two aspects. They embody opposing qualities such as life and death, light and dark. And across various Indo-European cultures, the Divine Twins have different names and manifestations. For example, the Ashvins in the Vedic tradition are gods of healing and medicine, associated with dawn and dusk, where the Dioscuri in the Greek tradition are horsemen, sailors, and protectors of travelers. Finally, in the Roman tradition, Castor and Polux are also associated with sailors and protectors of travelers, while in the Celtic tradition, the Divine Brothers represent the cycles of life and death. And the Proto-Indo-European Divine Twins are often linked to the celestial bodies of the morning and evening star, which are important in many mythologies and religions worldwide. And there is something else regarding the celestial of interest here too. Odin, who is the leader of the wild hunt, and with it the Choreos, is for instance also connected to the constellation known as the Big Dipper or the Great Bear. The Great Bear refers to a group of stars in the night sky, and the Big Dipper is part of this group with its unique shape. These stars have held special meanings in various cultures and mythologies. And these constellations are celestial landmarks that people have used for navigation and storytelling for centuries. In some Norse traditions, Odin is believed to have created the Big Dipper as a way to guide travelers and warriors. The 7 stars of the constellation are said to represent the gods Odin, Thor, and Freya, as well as the 4 dwarfs who hold up the sky. And the Big Dipper is also sometimes associated with the myth of the mead of poetry, a powerful drink that was believed to confer poetic inspiration and wisdom. In this myth, Odin transforms himself into an eagle and steals the mead from the giant who guards it, bringing it back to Asgard, the home of the gods. And both the morning and evening star as Venus and the Big Dipper also have been linked to the Great Mother, and thus also depict the duality of Great Mother and the protector of life through the symbolism of the Big Dipper as Great Bear. As for the morning and evening stars, in many mythologies they are associated with the planet Venus, where in ancient Mesopotamian mythology the morning star was associated with the goddess Inanna, while the evening star was associated with the god Tammuz. Where in Greek mythology the morning star was associated with Eos, the goddess of dawn, while the evening star was associated with Hesperus, the god of the evening. The symbolism of the Big Dipper, the Great She-Bear, and the morning and evening stars are all deeply connected to the cycles of nature and the idea of balance and harmony between opposing forces as well. So they represent the interconnectedness of all things and the cyclical nature of life and death. But this symbolism is also present within the Mithraic mysteries. The Mithraic mysteries being a set of religious beliefs and practices from ancient Rome, followed by a group of people who had special rituals and ceremonies. As Carl Jung, within Symbols of Transformation, also pointed out, in the Mithraic liturgy, the different characteristics of the sun are sequentially presented. First, there is a vision of Helios, then 7 maidens with snake-like faces and 7 gods with black bull faces appear. The snake being a symbol of the earth, which has also been viewed as a feminine force. The bull, on the other hand, is a well-known fertility symbol. In the Mithraic liturgy, the bull gods are referred to as guardians of the world's axis, who turn the axle of the wheel of heaven, where Mithras is sometimes identified as Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, or as a companion and ruler of Helios, and he is depicted holding the constellation of the bear, which moves and turns the heavens round, in his right hand. Jung further notes that the psychic life force, the libido, symbolizes itself in the sun or personifies itself in figures of heroes with solar attributes. Similarly, the solar-linked divine twins, with their dual aspects, symbolize the same psychic life force within us. The duality of life and death, conscious and unconscious, intellect and instinct. And another important symbol when it comes to the divine twins is that of the horse. The horse symbolizes the union of the divine twins and their opposing forces, with the horse as the mediator who unites them in a harmonious balance, symbolizing the union of consciousness and the unconscious. And there are different mythological representations also within cultures that depict this coming together of opposites. One such horse figure is the Norse god Odin's eight-legged horse Sleipnir, who travels between the worlds of the living and the dead. Sleipnir might have been originally the two horses of the divine twins, where Pegasus in Greek mythology also represents the union of opposites, a terrestrial and celestial creature associated with poetic inspiration and creativity and transcending earthly limitations. These mythical horses are magical creatures from ancient stories, each with its own unique powers and adventures. Pegasus also being linked to hero figures, where also within later Greek thought this symbolism still survived. In Neoplatonism, the vessel that allows transcendence is referred to as the divine chariot or chariot of the soul. Neoplatonism being a philosophical system that emerged in the 3rd century AD, building upon the ideas of the ancient philosopher Plato. This system focused on the idea that everything in the world is connected to a single ultimate source of reality or goodness. And Neoplatonism delved into questions about the nature of reality, the human soul, and the relationship between the material world and the spiritual realm. And the myth of the chariot in Plato's Phaedrus describes the soul as a chariot pulled by two horses that represent the opposing forces of reason and desire. The charioteer symbolizes the intellect that guides the horses in a harmonious balance, enabling the soul to ascend to the realm of the gods. And this image represents the union of opposing forces within the self and the journey towards higher consciousness and transcendence, also connecting this to the concept of individuation. Similarly, you have the Asiatic wind horse, which in Tibetan Buddhism is a symbol of the life force or prana, represented as a horse with billowing flanks that depicts the power of the wind. And it embodies the balance between the spiritual and material worlds, union of the individual self and the universal energy, and overcoming obstacles to achieve enlightenment. And regarding this Asiatic symbol, there has been some evidence that this concept from the earlier Bon tradition had possible Proto-Indo-European influence, and there could have been a cross-cultural connection. The theory by Krause is that the Proto-Indo-Europeans from the Pontic steppe north of the Black Sea migrated eastward and came at some point into contact with the animistic Bon culture, something that I do feel could be plausible. The Bon tradition is an ancient religious and shamanistic tradition with its roots in Tibet. It predates the introduction of Buddhism to Tibet and involves a rich tapestry of rituals, beliefs, and practices. And the Bon tradition encompasses a wide range of spiritual concepts, including the veneration of nature, spirits, and deities, as well as rituals for healing, divination, and connecting with the spirit world. The Yamnaya culture, meanwhile, is an archaeological culture associated with the Proto-Indo-Europeans, an ancient and influential group of people who lived in the Eurasian steppes, north of the Black Sea. And the Yamnaya culture existed around 3300 to 2600 BC and played a pivotal role in shaping the development of Indo-European languages and cultures. And this culture is characterized by its distinctive burial practices, domestication of horses and other animals, and innovations like bronze technology. And this Yamnaya culture being known to have traveled also eastwards, bringing the horse and their symbolism with them. However, the horse was though generally an important animal for the steppe cultures in general, so one could not rule out a parallel development of similar themes and ideas regarding horses and transcendence. But this link remains in the realm of speculation as of now, regarding the link between Yamnaya culture and the Bon tradition and this influence.